So then, next up, what have you been exploring? What's been on your mind this last little bit since our last call?
Well, it's interesting. Had over the years, I've heard this binary be put out of the reason you're struggling in business is because in your interactions, you're focused on getting, not giving. And there's a truth to this. I mean, I've certainly experienced it. I think we all have when people show up in a really generous place. It's very endearing, uh, how many people have gotten jobs because they volunteered somewhere, and then that place eventually hired them. They started by offering something, by giving. So there's a truth to it, and something about it felt off or was missing. Like I really couldn't figure it out. And finally, the last time it came up, it hit me. There's really three things, three capacities. There's giving, there's getting, and there's a third one. But now let me just talk about getting, because getting is not bad. Some people are terrible at receiving. All they can do is give, but they're not able to receive anything back. And that will hurt your business because then, oh, let me just help you. Oh, no, no, you don't need to pay today. It's fine. It's fine. It's always giving discounts to everybody. And that it comes from this people pleasing and please like me and no boundaries. And that can make you very resentful over time. So first of all, let's not demonize getting. It's okay to get. You got to get something to live. You got to get some food to eat. You got to get a place to stay. Getting is not the enemy of humanity. It's the beginnings of humanity. A baby gets. A baby is on the receiving end of getting, and nothing but getting. I mean, they don't contribute anything to the household for quite a while. In modern times, not until their 30s. So you're on the receiving end for a long time, and that's proper. That's exactly how it should be. Then there's giving, and that it's not better than getting, but it's also important if you're going to be a human being. And this is a lot of the purpose of initiation, rites of passage in traditional cultures, is this shift towards giving. Okay, you've received a lot now, and now it's time for you to take care of the village. You've sat by the fire and been warmed by it. Now you got to go get, the wood for the fire. And you've been fed by the hunters, and now you're going to be a hunter. All those ideas. Now they may have been involved peripherally from a young age, but now it's responsibility to give these things to contribute. But there's this third piece, which I call gauging. And when we get into marketing and relationships, gauging is one of the master skills, because how do you know when it's time to give and how do you know when it's time to get? How do you know if you should give anything at all? Is this a fit at all? Because yes, generosity can be endearing, relationship building, but it can also be relationship destroying. I mean, talk about unwanted attention, catcalling, stalking, sending gifts to people that are just so big and outrageous, and then people feel obligated and uncomfortable. There's a kind of giving that we think is giving and may sincerely be coming from that place, but we haven't actually read the room. We haven't gauged the situation. Like, is this the time and the place to give? And people can give unwisely. I mean, my God, in my youth, I gave so many gifts to people that I really wish I hadn't. Precious things, treasures, some family heirlooms. I just gave because I just wanted them to like me. So gauging is really important. Okay, you want to give a bunch of free time to somebody as a business move. How likely are they to become a client? Have you actually gauged that? Is this really a fit? Have you explored that? Or is this a reflex, the giving thing? Or are you doing it strategically, and it's fine to strategically be generous. That's not a problem. It's just aim it well, at least. Aim it where it has a chance, plant the seed in the soil it's actually going to grow in. And I think there's a lack of gauging. There's a lack of an ability to read the room for a lot of reasons. One is, just childhood wounds. we're reactive, we're posturing all the time, or we're collapsing, and it's hard when we're in a reactive place to actually be present and read the room. There was a gorilla who did math. They would show, here's the equation, and then here's 4 different cards. One of them had the correct answer, and the gorilla could always get the correct answer. And amazing, the gorilla can do math. This is amazing. What are we learning about animals that we didn't know? But of course, a gorilla couldn't do that. But what the gorilla could do was read the person. And whenever they held up the correct answer, they would relax a little bit. And they would shift something. And the gorilla noticed that and could always tap that one. Like, this is the one you seem to be most okay with. So let's go with this. And we should all be so lucky to have friends who could read us that well, and to be that kind of a friend to, the marketplace, that we can read and discern, is this a fit? That's the primary question to me before we get into giving and getting. Those are both premature conversations. We start with gauging. And once we've gauged the situation, okay, then you might give. You still might be generous, but you're giving with a very clear sense of, this is not a fit. This is just because I love this person and I want to be helpful. And I know it's never going to come back to me, and that's fine. Rather than with the hopes that this is going to turn into something. Well, I just went to this course and they just said to be generous. They just said to be giving all the time, to enter every interaction with giving. And you also then start to read the room and realize, I think I'll just make this person uncomfortable if I give in this or that way, and it might just be better to walk away right now. Or I can give in a slightly different way. I think we've all been on the receiving end of enthusiastic generosity that was just like, okay, whoa, like, hold back. I mean, I remember back in the day, there was a fellow who was doing fundraising, and there was a fellow who I knew had a lot of money, and I met him at a social venture institute gathering. And I remember, I think I got his email, said, hey, what's your birthday? And he responded, and he said, I'm not wanting that kind of relationship with you. Like, I'm not, and he put the brakes on it. Bless him. So, but if we can't, sometimes people have a hard time saying no, we can't gauge it. And it's like we're just pouring water down an endless hole. It's never going to fill up, because they're not getting it themselves. They're not receiving it. They don't want it. So we're sending emails thinking we're being helpful, and they're just deleting the emails when they get them. So sometimes we got to gauge, and sometimes it just comes with an outright conversation and asking, like, hey, from time to time, I could send you things on this topic. Would you be interested? No. I could send you books from time to time. Would you read them? Probably not. Then you don't. So that's what's been on my mind lately.
Lovely. Big thoughts, and very relevant as well.